All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Coleman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest and greatest guest here in front of me. We have the Edwina Nash, the holistic therapist, all the way from Limerick. Limerickaboo. Edwina, say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everybody, and hi, thank you, Coleman, for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and thank you for the lovely introduction.
No problem at all. Edwina, I suppose I brought yourself onto this podcast, I suppose, to give people, I suppose, an introduction to some things that are going to happen in the near future. But firstly, I want you to introduce yourself to the likes of the listeners, where you're based, what you do, and we'll be definitely going on to the likes of bioenergy and therapy and all different sort of sound things that you most certainly do.
Amazing, thank you. So, as you said, I'm Edwina, living here in County Limerick in Ireland. I'm, first of all, a mammy to two children, Amelia Rose and Calvin, big age gap, 17 and 4, but they're absolutely amazing. And I am, living out here in the country in County Limerick. So I suppose a bit about my background is my initial background is around nursing, right? So I initially started out as a healthcare assistant, went back to college when I was, I forget what age I was, 27, I think, as a mature student when my son started primary school to do nursing, and qualified as a nurse in 2016 and worked in that area for a number of years. But within it, always found it very difficult, very challenging area to be in, be it the nursing career itself, but other personal challenges that came up as well at the time. So in very early, as when I was training to be a nurse, I lost two very close family members, a brother and a father, within 4 months of each other. And I think the whole time was tough. And when I qualified, then was trying to find my place within the nursing world where I fit in. And that proved to be a challenge. And I went around to different areas of work. And in 2018, I became a clinical nurse manager over a big catchment area. So, and I was the sole clinical lead. And still thinking, I thought this will be it. This is where I'll fit in. This is where I'll feel like I'm living my passion or my purpose, which was helping people. I always knew that. But a couple of years later, I burnt out. It was my second burnout within the nursing career, and yeah, it was a tough station to be at. And it was at that point I decided, okay, something's got to give here. And I decided one day I'm not nursing anymore. I'd given it my best shot, and despite all of that, for my mental health and for my family's well-being, I decided that was going to end. So at the time, I had never heard of a mentor or a life coach, and I certainly didn't know anything about living. And when we talk about now, what's our purpose and what's our full potential. At the time, I was living to pay the bills and living to rear the family and get the mortgage paid and do what society expected me to do, which was have a pensionable job, a government job, and all these things. And I was ticking all those boxes, but yet I was so miserable underneath. So a life coach was mentioned to me one day, and I said, right, I do not know what that is. I'd never heard of it, but the title said everything. And I needed that. I needed a life coach at that moment in time, for sure. And when I closed that door, the minute I closed the old door, opened up to new possibilities and new doors. My God, the world opened up. So very soon after that, now even though I was a nurse and in the medical world, I was always very open and aware of complementary or alternative therapies. And if me or any of my kids were sick, I would take them to an alternative or complementary therapist before I'd go to the doctor, unless it was an emergency or a medical thing that was going on, like an infection or something. But So when I started to explore myself and started to work with this life coach, I started to discover more about me and who I was and what I wanted in the world and what I wanted for me. And, tore away all those layers of guilt that I had, of always doing for everybody else, surviving to, as I said a while ago, tick all those boxes that society expects me to be, my family and all those things. And, we put those expectations on ourselves ultimately. But when we stripped all of that back, I could see that I was still, my passion and purpose is still helping people, but just in a different way. And that's when I found bioenergy. So bioenergy literally landed in my inbox one day, and it was totally like, so I just started this program. Bioenergy landed in my inbox as a promotional email, and I said, yeah, that's it. Don't know what that is either, the same as I didn't know what a life coach was, but I knew that this was happening for a reason, so I went with it and trained. I did a diploma as a bioenergy therapist, so spent most of 2021 training to be a bioenergy therapist. In the meantime, while I was training, we did a renovation here and built a therapy room and started to take in case studies. And before I knew it, when I qualified, my business was already up and running and quite successful as well. And to this day it's mind blowing. 2.5 years, the transition that has happened for me is amazing. At this minute in time, I'm fully booked right into the second week of September. And I go, how did this happen? But it did. And obviously, I'm in my purpose now and serving people in a profound way and in a way that, is what is on my path or my destiny. So in the meantime, so since qualifying as a bioenergy therapist, I also qualified not so long ago, just a couple of months ago, as a Dawson Corrective Sounds practitioner. So basically, that's a diploma as well. It's sound healing or sound therapy, which is absolutely amazing, really profound as well. And a couple of other little bits that are under the belt as well around homeopathic remedies, and I do homeopathic remedy prescribing and that. But I suppose primarily if you want to say speciality, is on trauma. So I work a lot with clients that have suffered significant traumatic experiences in their life, be it childhood, be it relationship trauma, be it, even, traumatic car accidents, different things like that. It really varies. And I suppose trauma is different for everybody. And we associate trauma with, God forbid, a war zone or something like that. But trauma is it's whatever way that emotion of whatever happened to us gets held in the system and can in some way hold us back in our life. So yeah, that's kind of me, I think.
And fair play to you, because just to even unwind and unpackage that a little bit, sometimes people do feel, and often listeners of this show say, oh man, I feel trapped. I'm in this job, I'm in this current position. And just you're a pure example of most certainly the next thing we're going to be talking about is your mindset switch. You knew you wanted to help people, okay? It didn't always have to be in the likes of nursing. You took control and made a career out of what you're good at. You're good. You're an extremely good people person. I know you as well, quite well right now. The point is, that's what you excel at. And you found a job, you found a niche, and now you're helping people in that specific area, such as you mentioned, trauma, that opens up people to so many other beneficial, I suppose, opportunities in life. Because when you literally let go of one thing, if your hands open to pick up as many things as you possibly can that are good for you.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's what brought me to the mindset element of what I do now. Is I would have clients come to me in for therapies, and I think one thing we mistake energy healing work with is a magic wand. So we go for whatever energy healing session and we think this one inside will wave this magic wand, I'll walk back out and everything will be gone. To a degree, for maybe 12, 24 hours, 48, maybe up to a week, that will be real. But once we're going back out to the same reality, the same toxic stuff, the same old mindset, going back into the same routine that's not serving us, all of that stuff comes back. So I initially started to bring in mindset and empowering my clients work within the bioenergy. So after a session, I would give clients a couple of bits to do, bring into their daily routine, be it meditation, qigong, whatever it was, to try and maintain their vibration or their level of energy after the session before they come back. And then what would happen is they didn't have the accountability piece. So when the client would come back, how'd you get on with the qigong? Oh, I forgot to do it. And I know the power of doing that work for yourself. And I started to think, how can I help my clients even more? Because I got to do that. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to ultimately help my clients not wave that magic wand. I was far too passionate for my clients for that. So after a bit of time, I started to do, so I myself have done a lot of mindset work. I have also trained in a few areas around mindset. So I said, you know what, to get me to where I was, I had mindset work, mindset training, and also the healing stuff. And I said, you know what, I can get this together in one place for my clients and let them know that that's something there that they can avail of. So what has come from that? So Divine Awakening Holistic Therapy is the name of my business. That's there doing its own thing now. And I'm so grateful for that. And now I've just added a new element to the business. Well, it's there since last October, but it's called the Intuitive Mindset Mentor. So it's a program I've developed where we are healing and transforming at the same time. So it's ran over 16 weeks, but there's a lot of, we are working through the stuff from the past. So I do feel, and just from my experience is an area where I've come from, have had a lot of trauma in my life, even from childhood right up to a few years ago. And my experience is it's harder for us to move forward if we haven't shed away some of the stuff from the past and worked through it. We are, that stuff is in there. It's subconscious. Our body and our energy field remembers that. So we might have a fear of something, but we will not consciously know what it is, but it's our energy field that remembers. So not spinning the thought of don't do that, it's not safe. Even though it is safe, but your body is remembering it in a way that is a threat. So we work through that stuff. So the program is very much healing, holding space for that, going there. Let's go to the emotion instead of running away from it. What's the emotion trying to show you? So if there's stuff coming up around fear, just using that as an example, or anxiety, we're looking at that. We want to say, hello, fear, what are you showing me? What do you want me to get rid of? What do you want me to release? Rather than going, right, that's the fear bit there, but we're going to just walk past that because it's not serving us. It's just not going to work. So that's what we do in the program. And within that, then we're also doing the mindset stuff, the mindset work to get us from where we are now to where we want to be. And honestly, this is, I feel like now we're doing it. Now I'm in my purpose. Now I'm in my passion. And to see clients, and you will know what this is like coming from what you do with clients, to see clients transform before your very eyes. I mean, there isn't words to explain that, that feeling that you get. And it's not a selfish thing. We're not doing it to make us feel this way. It's an amazing thing to see a client blossom, from where they were to their full potential. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I even just wanted something that you've just mentioned there in that last, I suppose, couple of minutes there is it's hard to move forward if we don't let go of the past. That's really, really key. I love to just even slow down. For a lot of people, that might be relationships, that might be in a certain job that you were previously in, or memories of the past. And the point is that you have to literally get help from somebody. I'm a firm believer in getting a mentor or coach to bring yourself or anybody's self to the highest level that they possibly can be. And some of them can be paid. Like listening to podcasts is what I first, I suppose, would recommend to people, because they're 100% free for the most part. There are loads of them on YouTube. There are loads of them on Spotify, like this one, on Stitcher, and so many other different ones. And the point is that when you start to listen to someone, thoughts become things. They end up in your head, and you start getting ideas. When you get ideas, you're followed by action, and action leads to a result. All these different things, I suppose, are the stepping stones to help people to improve. And that's all everybody ever wants, literally an improvement on their current state. We're actually looking for dopamine, whether it's looking for a food item, whether it's a biscuit or chocolate, or it's a sourdough bread with the likes of maybe eggs, or more certainly beans and hopefully spinach on it, preferably a meal that I would recommend to people that improve their gut health. The idea is we're looking for that hit. We want to literally touch people. We want to give them a high five. We want people to give them a hug. We lose those connections as we kind of age, because we think that it's not cool to give people a hug, or it's only for children, and then we feel alone. And then really the idea is you should never feel alone. There are so many thousands, millions, billions of people in this world that you can connect with. Okay, and finding those people is so important.
Absolutely. And there's a couple of bits there as well, you know, that we do lose ourselves. And as you say, as we get older, we're not as connected. You know, that can be from the trauma. That can be, oh, I cannot expose myself to more people because they all hurt me. There's an element to that there. And just around the hugging piece, we can often as well not feel worthy of that. So we're not worthy to receive the hug, or maybe we're not good enough to comfort the other person. So we just don't do it. And it becomes a discomfort thing. And I don't know why I'm going to go into the hug bit, but I am, because I was not a hugger. And this might resonate with listeners. I hated hugs. Hugs to me were false. And it was going back to my own childhood, I suppose, my own trauma, which was with my father, who was a rock. And when he was a rock, but my biggest heartbreaker. So I couldn't trust him. So when he hugged me, I didn't believe it. I wanted to, but I didn't. So I ended up not being a hugger. Even though I was in the nursing career and I was in a career where I help people, and even the start of being a bioenergy therapist, you know, if clients got upset, I couldn't hug them. So I was like, I'm not good enough to give them the hug, or vice versa. But now I'm a massive hugger. You know, at this stage, I am in a place where I need to make sure the other person is comfortable with the hug before I hug them. Because sometimes I find I'm hugging them going, I hope they're okay with this. Because I was not a hugger, you know, for so long.
Tell me the steps on how you got from where you were to, I suppose, the idea that now you've no problem in giving the connection with people, whether it's a hug or a handshake or anything else.
Again, to be honest, it does go to community. So it was who I was surrounding myself with now. There's what really comes to my mind is it's a guy here in Limerick that does breath work, and I went to a few of his retreats, and he came and did some breath work at our retreats as well. And I remember joining these communities of like-minded people who were on journeys, people who were vulnerable, people who cried, who laughed together, who held space for one another. And that when we started to become more exposed and aware that these people existed, I had been in a place now of self-judgment, and I was also in a place, my work environment was very critical and judgy. So I think once I surrounded myself with that community, which I now call your tribe, find your tribe, it becomes your new norm. Everybody is lovely, you know, and that's kind of the way of thinking you end up in. Now, was there more than that? Absolutely. I went through a healing journey. I couldn't take you step by step through that because it's not linear, as you know, but a lot powered through an incredible amount of healing that inner child and everything.
Yeah. So, and I suppose these are points I want to just bring up to people. It's literally what you're saying. You're looking for a community of people, whatever scenario or situation you're currently in. You're looking for like-minded individuals and coming together on a regular basis, whether it's going to events, whether it's, again, listening to podcasts or reading books. Those are just things that really, I suppose, bring you on and, I suppose, a learning curve of with the idea of improvement, and life is about development.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get lost. And we get lost in the society stuff, in the expectations, and look, we put a lot of it on ourselves. I learned that later on. It's when you kind of wake up a little bit, you realize, look, you did it to yourself, but you knew no better. Because look, when we're born, our parents tell us what to do, how to do it, how to behave, speak when we're spoken to. Don't be looking over there, look back here.
What to
We
wear,
go,
what to dress, how to brush your hair.
yeah, yeah. And we go to school, and the teacher, like I heard Bob Proctor, I think it's Bob Proctor, talk about this lately. You go to school, and you got the student that's the dreamer, and they're looking out the window, dreaming about maybe what they'll do this evening when they finish school or whatever. And the teacher's, Coleman, stop dreaming, and we're told from a very young age, stop dreaming, come back here to this, to the matrix. Right. And
Love that one.
yeah, so all of this, then it does shed away. But when we get to a stage of awareness, sometimes that happens to us earlier, sometimes it happens a bit later in life. There is no judgment. It doesn't matter when it happens. It's the perfect time. We start to go, oh, who am I? What do I like? What do I want to do? I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s now. Is there more to life? And then that's the start of self-discovery. And if anyone that's listening has those thoughts coming around, pick up the book, listen to the podcast, or do whatever you need to do to get at that very first stage to start opening up, because that's literally the bud about to blossom, and it's looking for that little, self-discovery is massive.
Yep. I love that analogy. She did that on purpose. I paid her extra. The bud that goes into flower in search for a bee that pollinates here, that most certainly pollinates the next plant. Look at that. You couldn't get any better.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to, suppose, bring you on to, I suppose, a little more about yourself. The whole idea is you're someone who's extremely passionate about helping other people, but just like myself, we're not, I suppose, absolutely 100% perfect. We're all looking for that, I suppose, improvement on where we are. We've mentioned that already. But with yourself, there are areas that you're looking to improve on. And most certainly that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit here, right now.
Absolutely. So I suppose how to start with, I suppose, where will I start with it? So how me and you have met is because I was in a place where I needed help around extra weight that I've on for the last number of years. But looking back, weight is a thing that's in my mind since I was about 10 or 12 years of age. And I feel like I'm a girl, and lots of other girls have resonated with that's on a diet since they were 12 or 13. And I might have said this to you, Coleman, at the time. I see when we first started, yes, I seem to be getting heavier and heavier every year instead of losing it. So I'm on the wrong diet. But and obviously diet isn't the word, and we know all of that now. But I suppose the last 4 years in as well, primarily, is actually is really when I've actually had weight. When I look back now, I was always lovely, but it's now I have weight. Now my body has changed. I had my daughter 4 years ago. Hormones have changed. Lots of different things have changed. But I went from, being a nurse as well, 13-hour days on wards. I could eat whatever I wanted that time, and I wouldn't put on much weight because I was so active, to being more sedentary, to either sitting at a desk with a client or being on the computer. And I suppose the physical health bit for me has slipped. So while I've done loads of mindset stuff, I applied the mindset, I suppose, to family and business. While I've done a load of healing, you name it, I've healed through it. But the physical, the nutritional part and that element is an area that is now here and ready, I suppose, for that transformation as well. It's been here and ready for the last little while, but now is the time. So I suppose that's how I got in touch with yourself, Coleman. Is around that physical bit.
And we're making it a lifestyle, as I say, and so many other different people. It's the thing, it has to fit your day. And the word diet, okay, is not something that we typically use
No,
because
no.
we have to go to family events. We have to most certainly go on holidays. We have to meet that person. We have to have, I suppose, whatever it was on, but on the day, it's what you do the majority of the time. So it's getting up and having a morning routine. It's the idea of having some form of either movement, whether it's grounding, whether it's stretching, whether it's some form of workout, followed by that maybe a walk. And touch on the point that your breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, it's definitely one of the
Mhm.
top three because remember, it's 33% of your overall meals if you're having a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, which I'm always going to
Mhm.
recommend to people because skipping breakfast is not a healthy option. It's the idea that so many times we think that we'll just have a coffee and then we'll have something light for lunch. And what ends up happening, so many different people, is they'll end up binge eating at the end of the day. If they don't do it that day on the Monday, they say, oh my God, Coleman, I've been so good on Monday. Tuesday, unbelievable. Wednesdays, I'm pretty much nearly at the top. When we've done Wednesday, now Thursday, and then that Friday, they literally eat the leg off the table. Whatever's in the press, biscuits,
Yeah,
chocolates, cakes, you name it, and maybe pop open the bottle of wine and have a mouthful of that as well. See,
yeah.
that's when we overdo it. So it has to be the idea that we'll factor in whatever food items that you would like to have on occasions. But the idea is the majority of the time, your foods are good. You're getting things local, you're getting things fresh, you're getting things to improve the likes of your gut health, which is so important for your mood. And that happens
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
key point.
And yeah, I think since so you name it, right? I've done it. You name and I'm using the word diet. I know that's not what we call it, but you name it, I've done it. And I think the program that you run is the first program in all of the years that I resonate with. It's simple. There's nothing what's the word? Difficult about it at all. There's no special potions. There isn't a whole load of special ingredients you have to have in and it's simple. It's protein, carbohydrate, good fats. That's
Yes, oh my God,
literally
I
all.
love you.
And there's nothing complicated about that. And like the big thing that I learned with Coleman, with yourself, was the protein and the carbohydrate together. That was a massive learning for me, that the protein balances the blood sugars. That for me was like, whoa, like how didn't I've done everything. Nobody's ever taught me that,
Oh Christ,
ever.
dude. I'm glad I
And
met you.
then people say, and she's a nurse. In nursing and in medical side, you're not taught this stuff at all. You are not taught it. And like I remember when I was training to be a nurse and wanting to know like more about these patients, but it's all based on the symptom. We're always treating a symptom. We do not have time to get to an emotional element or a lifestyle element. Do they put it into the curriculum? Yeah, they do. Is there time put into it? Absolutely not. So, and there'll be listeners go, God, she was a nurse. You're not taught that at all. No, you don't go near really much preventative stuff other than the lifestyle. Go for a 20-minute walk, have more greens, and don't smoke or whatever. Don't drink too much. That's probably the level it goes to. Yeah. So yeah, and like Coleman, since I started with you, like my whole family's on your program, bar my 4-year-old who actually is on it, but she does the workouts. Like Coleman is a household name right now. We have never actually physically met. It is. Amelia Rose will even say it a couple of times a day. Coleman, we tell Coleman. She got her watch for Coleman and all these things. So that just goes to show though how we can often excuse ourselves, make excuses. Oh, I can't do it because not all the family can do it. The whole family can do it, down to the 4-year-old, from the 17-year-old, from my partner. Like they love it. And you know what, it has brought us closer together as a family as well, because now we're all fitness palling together and asking each other how many steps. If you asked me 2 or 3 years ago if I'd be doing that, I'd say not a hope would I be, and we sit around the table together, and this is our conversation in the evenings, and we're all on the same page and we're all winning, as you say, Coleman. the challenges are absolutely there. I mean, I'm applying my weight loss journey at the minute. The motions I'm going through, and you'll know this, Coleman, are this. There's an element of healing happening for me within it because it's brand new. It's an avenue. It's like an avenue I've not properly been down before, and it is tough. There's days when it's just tough. You've got the kids, and as you know, I was up all night last night. My little girl's sick. You've got hormonal stuff with women. We've got our cycle going on. We've all these different things, but it's at this. You hold amazing space for that, like amazing. You're not just, you know, a nutritionist. You hold an amazing space for this, for the whole cycle that happens within this, because it's not all plain sailing. But your accountability program and everything, the way you run it, is just, honestly, you know how the value that I hold for it and how I've spread the word across the world nearly.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And you didn't pay me for that, but I'll send you the bill later.
Oh God. And you know what we're going to do, right? We're just going to hit pause here, and we're going to most certainly have a different discussion about something coming up in the near future. So if you haven't most certainly listened to the second part of this podcast, I highly recommend you.